our Abhidaya Acharya Srila Rupa Goswami has defined the definition of bhakti, Anyabhilasita Sunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anarvitam, Anakulyena Krishna Nishilanam Bhakti Uttam. Have you heard this verse?
Yep.
Yes, so it's important. We come to the process, we have to have some understanding. Kunja just mentioned a little about it. We have to understand where we're going. I remember the first time I had met Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj many years before. Maybe like, 20 some odd years, but I never understood the nature of his greatness. But when I had the good fortune of coming in his presence and hearing from him, one of the first things I heard him speak about was sadhya and sadhana. So here's an example. If you go to the airport, what is the goal of what we're doing? Do you know anything about the goal of the process of Krishna Bhakti? What is the goal?
Krishna praying.
Krishna praying, right? So if you go to the airport and you get to the window and at the checkout counter, they say, okay, where are you flying to? Don't you have to have some destination in mind, some city, some place you're going to go? So Krishna praying is the ultimate goal of life. What type of Krishna praying? Didn't the Pandavas have praying for Krishna? Didn't Mother Yasoda have praying for Krishna? Didn't the cowherd boys have praying for Krishna? So what specific type of love or praying are we trying to see? Yeah, so this is a very high thing, very deep thing. So we can have some idea. Now, this is maybe the goal, but what is the process of how to obtain that? This is what Srila Rupa Goswami is defining through Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, through Ujjvala Nilamani, through Upadeshamrita. All of his writings is describing the process of how we can obtain that.
Jaiva Dharma.
So we have to have Jaiva Dharma. This is why Srila Bhakti
I'm sorry.
So you have to have some understanding, because this definition of bhakti is helping us to understand what is bhakti and what isn't. So the first part of this definition, Anyabhilasita Sunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anarvitam, is explaining what is not bhakti, or the extrinsic characteristic. So it's explaining that type of devotion that's covered by karma or reward-seeking activities. I'll serve God, I'll serve the Supreme Lord, Hari Guru, Vaishnavas, if I get something from it. So this is reward-seeking activities, or those type of activities that will allow us to engage in the process of bhakti so we can become one with the Supreme Lord, or merge into his existence, which is, in fact, that's a fallacy, because that can't happen either. But there are those who seek this type of thing. If it's covered by karma, gyan, yoga, or so many different frivolous, anyabhilas, different ulterior motives, this is actually not bhakti in its purest form. But the definition is given, Anakulyena Krishna Nishilanam Bhakti Uttama, where the performance of activities with our body, mind, words, and our very Atma, done exclusively for the benefit or satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. And it's not covered by this karma, gyan, yoga like this. And it ultimately to bring satisfaction or well-being to Krishna. This is actually Sudha Bhakti in its purest form. So our acharyas have given us this to help us to develop in such a way where we don't develop misconceptions or misideas, because this will actually derail us. It's just like if you have directions on how to go somewhere, but you don't follow those directions properly, it'll take you somewhere else. So we should try to heed the directions and instructions from superior Vaishnavas and pray for the mercy of Shri Gaurnitai Vaishnavas and Shri Radha Krishna, our whole Guru Varga, because they've already tread this path. It's not like we have to develop something new. The directions are already there. It's like you can look at a map, or like now they have different apps like Waze or Google Maps. You can real easily, okay, this is how you go, you do it. It's real easy. You follow it, you'll get there. But if you think, oh no, I know a better way, you're not sure, but you speculate. Well, maybe because I remember this vaguely, then you get lost and you're all over the place. So we should actually take the opportunity to try and put forth the effort. Because I mentioned this yesterday as well, but I like this particular point. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking with Srila Sanatana Goswami, he asked him, what's more prominent, Kripa or mercy of the Lord, or the endeavor of the sadhak? You know what's more important? Kripa, mercy, or the endeavor of the devotee? What's more important?
Kripa?
Both.
Both. Yes, I was going to say you need both.
So, of course, because not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. But ultimately, you mentioned something earlier, this really, really high thing, Manjari Bhava. This is such a high thing. So in order to obtain that thing, it takes some special mercy. So Damodar Leela is giving the example of how the endeavor of Mother Yasoda was able to invoke Krishna's Karun Shakti. Because at first, Krishna didn't want to be bound to the grinding water. Look how long it took. But when Mother Yasoda dropped every other intention and everything, and she simply focused on the betterment or well-being of her darling Krishna. Now, some people would say, well, maybe, look, she's trying to bind Krishna, but she didn't have any malice in her heart. She was doing this for the benefit because she saw Krishna as her darling son. So she thought, if I don't help him and don't discipline him, he may grow up to be a rogue or a debauchee. So she's thinking about Krishna's well-being. So even though this would seem to be an underextension of the definition, the underextension, there's two examples of overextension of bhakti, which, like the wrestlers, Chanura and Mustika, this can't be included within the definition of bhakti because they had a desire to harm Krishna, even though Krishna felt some satisfaction of wrestling with the wrestlers. But why is it that their activities can't be included within bhakti? Can anyone say?
Because their intentions are not favorable for bhakti.
Because they wanted to, they were malicious. They wanted to harm Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're talking
even
about
though-
Jaga and Madai, I missed that last bit. Were we talking about Jaga and Madai?
No, Chanura and Mustika.
They were.
Chanura and Mustika, they were the wrestlers when Krishna went to Mathura. And even though Krishna was experiencing some satisfaction from wrestling
Yeah, he was
in a chivalrous mood,
Yes.
why is what they were performing not bhakti? Because they had the intention to bring harm to Krishna.
Correct.
So this can't be included in the definition of bhakti. Krishna's Atmaram, Aptakam, and himself is satisfied. So their activities are not included. But why is it Mother Yasoda's actions were included in bhakti?
Like you said.
I just have a side note. Like, what about Jaga and Madai? They didn't, from what I can see, there was not much effort on their side to like show bhakti to Krishna or to Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda.
That was a leela, that was a pastime, but they
But they got
actually,
the mercy.
but they got mercy. But where did they get the mercy
From Nityananda.
from? Who is Lord Nityananda?
All around.
Kanda Guru Tattva. Yeah. So this is showing the grace or mercy of a Kanda Guru Tattva. Without that, it's showing us, without the mercy of Lord Nityananda or Guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya. Without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, how is it possible to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya or Radha Krishna? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They were eternal associates. They were actually, in their previous births, they were Jaya and Vijaya, Kumbhakarna and Ravana, and then Dantavakra and Sisupal. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, they came like this. So this was part of the
You
Leela.
end up saying
But this was the fourth birth. This was even
This was
a
the
special.
fourth, yes,
This was
because-
a special
because
birth
this-
because of Mahaprabhu.
Because of
But
Mahaprabhu,
there,
yes, yes.
so even more.
It was a bonus for them.
So Mother Yasoda's bhakti is considered favorable, even though Krishna seemed to be displeased. But because her intentions, she's the personification of that Vatsalya Ras. So her actions are considered the topmost bhakti in Vatsalya Ras, like this. So we should very carefully try to deliberate upon the nature of what is Sudha Bhakti and what isn't, because it's very, very important for us to build and build step by step, very unflinchingly and with full attention on the process of what bhakti is. There's one definition, actually it was from the 11th canto, where Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport. He says, even if lust and greed overpowers me, lust, greed, anger overpowers me, even if Lord Brahma himself tells me to engage in karma and jnana, we have to have the type of determination that we never give up bhakti. Yasyatmika buddhi. We have to be fixed in our intelligence that no matter what happens, we'll never give up the process of bhakti. Because as described also in Bhagavad Gita, one of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments on this verse that describes the 4 types of people who don't. I can remember years ago we would read the purport, the lowest of mankind. And we would say, yes, it's like the karmas. But actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions, for one who comes to the process of bhakti, but then gives it up thinking that their goals or whatever they thought it was going to be couldn't be fulfilled, and they give up the process of bhakti, he said, this is the lowest of mankind. So we should adhere diligently and try to understand truly what the process of bhakti is. So I can remember Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, he gave these 4 verses. He said that were like the foundation that we could build like a house on. The 4 foundation verses of bhakti. He gave this first verse. Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Pashta Vegam, Eitan Vegam, Yogi Shahita Dira, Sarvam Apimam Pritibim Sashishya. So we have to have or be able to develop this understanding. Also, he gave the other verse I just mentioned. Anyavilasita Sunyam Jnana Kamari Navatam Anukuyena Krishna Shilana Bhakti Uttama. Then he gave another verse. Trinadapi Sunichena Todoropi Sahishuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Shvahari. Then he gave one other verse. Tate Nukampam Susamikshamano Ujana Evatma Krita Vipakam Ridbhava Pubir Vidadam Namaste Jivetio Mukti Pade Sadaiva. So these are like a foundation that we can build upon. So without a strong foundation, what will happen to our house that we're building?
It crumble.
It'll crumble. So we have to become very strong in our determination. And so our shraddha can be very fixed and very strong. So it's very easy if we have only one, but if we have 4 and it's very strong, and that very strong association, Hari Guru and Vaishnavas, our platform of bhakti can be very strong that we can build it. So, Vanchakopa Truyascha, So later, if anyone has any questions or comments or anything, we can discuss it. Well, actually, does anyone have any questions or comments?
I do.
Yes.
Where is the, I know you don't believe in Christ, right? Who is Christ for you?
No, who said, how could you say, you know I don't believe in Christ? How'd you come up to that?
Because I see,
You ever met me? How do you know that I
I
don't believe?
got an idea and I read someone.
Okay, but what is that called when you have an idea but you don't know? What's that called? Speculation, right?
Yes.
You assume.
Yeah,
right?
I assume.
So why would you assume that I don't?
Because I don't see a cross.
Why would look? First of all, let me explain like this. I don't worship Christ on the cross. I don't worship Christ of how he died.
Okay.
Okay, I personally, that's just my personal.
Okay.
And yes, I
So
do.
do you believe in resurrection?
Resurrection, we definitely there's resurrection, there's transmigration at every moment. You're changing bodies at every moment. You just think you don't. But that's another conversation. We can discuss that later. But anyone else?
The Rangaswamy Maharaj was asked this very question. And I think it's important we remember just out of the words of our acharyas. And I say, this is my wife's story. This is Manjaditi, for those who don't know. But she asked the same question. Who is this Christ?
Raised Catholic.
All right. She was raised Catholic.
I'm a Jew.
And I was raised Jewish. And I was a member of the 12 tribes, so Levite.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
so he asked the question. My wife asked the question. Who is this? What is Christ? And he said, oh God, was it Christ? Christos, Krishna. He said, all same,
Jesus,
all
Jesus,
one.
Jesus of the
And
Christ.
then he went on to explain that if you truly understand Christ, you understand Shakti Veshavita. You understand that God comes to us in many forms, and that he empowers his devotees to express. So one must believe in Christ, but with the proper understanding of who Christ
So
is.
you know the power of resurrection of Christ.
Fundamental.
That's not fundamental. That is the basic of the 4 Gospels and the Bible.
We
It's
can
called
discuss the
Bruce.
specifics of it
It's
later,
called
but it's not
The 4
inconsistent.
Gospels in the Bible are about the resurrection and the power of resurrection. They come from Christ, the power of the cross. I don't see that here. You guys bow to statues. When our Bible said do not bow to any statue or any God.
We'll take a question and then we can have a dialogue about it.
Yeah.
I just want to understand a little more about bhakti. Can you explain?
Good question. You can mix both things
Yeah.
together. Do you want to?
Do you have a mic? I have to speak
No,
loud.
speak loud. Yeah.
Bhakti, when you say bhakti, there's, we were discussing last night, when we speak of Sanskrit, there's so many different variations and definitions that we can give. So, what I have understood under the guidance of Srila my Guru Maharaj was Bhaktivedanta Rama, that this process, and then also his Shiksha Guru is Ashi Bhaktivedanta, that this Bhakti Yoga is a process that helps us to realign ourselves with understanding who we are in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, we have just read earlier that there are many of us in this room right now, but many of us are going to see things from a different perspective. But that does not mean that we're not all trying to be on the same path. So just like when we came here to this particular address here, there were many different ways we could have came. So this Bhakti Yoga process is to help us to realign ourselves, to understand that we are all parts and parcel of God, and that here, by taking to this process, it would help us to purify ourselves so that we can be able to perceive and understand. Just like, for instance, if there was a surgical doctor who's going to perform surgery, in order for him to come, before he becomes to do the surgery, he has to do what?
Study.
And what else?
Work.
But before he starts to do the actual surgery, what do you have to do?
Practice.
Yeah, he don't practice, but he's already practiced. He has to purify himself.
Get
He
ready.
can't go and just go cut. Why? Because then you may get contaminated. So we have to purify ourselves. Otherwise, if we don't, we will get some weird conceptions. So this process, in order to understand Bhakti in its true sense, we have to come under the guidance of a bona fide representative, one who knows. So if I wanted to know how to come to this program here today, I had to ask who's the host here? Manasuka.
Well, we're friends hosting. Yeah.
All right, well, okay.
At our friends.
We had to find out how to get here. Otherwise, I could have just get in the contract. Okay, where we going? We're going to Manasuka. Where? Just going.
Just don't follow him.
We're lost.
So in that way, it's a process.
There's a process.
And if you take this process and lead this way, and this particular page is called the chapter of movement. And I will say this, I'm not a very expert orator as many of my God brothers and senior God representatives are, but I do know that if you stick to the process, as Mumi was saying earlier, if you stick to the process, it's especially chanting the holy name. If you chant this and really take it to your heart, you will get it. It works. Christian will, it will reveal to you. But we have to put the work in. It's like if you're gonna go make a some prashad, or you're gonna cook for the deities, or for a gathering as such we have here, you have to put the work in. You can think about, oh yeah, I gotta cook this, cook that, but you can think about it. But until you get up and start putting the ingredients together and start cooking, it's not gonna happen. I hope that helped out.
Well, one thing also, actually by nature, one thing that Srila Prabhupada mentions, and I mention this many times, every activity or every service that we perform has an attractive feature to us. If we weren't attractive, we wouldn't do anything, practically speaking. And the impetus for us to do it is the pleasure we derive from whatever it is we do. Because practically we would do something because we want some satisfaction from it. Even some people have some crooked conceptions. They think, I like suffering, but that's what they like. It might be perverted, but that's what they like. You understand? So everyone is seeking happiness and pleasure. Why?
That's the most important thing.
That's our nature.
Our nature.
The process of bhakti allows us the opportunity to develop that type of happiness that is unending. If I asked you, how long do you want to be happy and enjoy? What would you say?
I would say until my dying days.
Exactly. In other words, forever.
Forever,
Yeah. So do you have any experience of anyone in this world experiencing happiness forever? No. But let's do a little mathematics here. No effect is greater than its cause, right? So if we're a product of this world that has a beginning and an end, where does this desire to be happy and live forever come from? Where does it come from? It comes from within. Yeah. So I made this statement some years ago and I stick by it. You have to understand, you don't have a soul. You are the soul. You have a body. See, right now, our thinking is like upside down. Because we think I'm the body, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm white, I'm black, I'm Catholic, I'm Jewish, I'm Hindu, so many different misconceptions or body identifications. But when we start to understand the science of the soul and identify that I'm an eternal spirit soul, the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, then we can change our thinking 180 degrees and come from being upside down to right side up. And then we'll start viewing things from that perspective, that I'm an eternal soul and I have a body. And eventually the body begins to grow. It lasts for a little while. It starts to decrease and decay, and ultimately the body is finished. It's just like if you're driving in a car, you get in a car accident, the car is all tore up and smashed up. You just get out and you go get another car. The car will be finished the same way. Like he mentioned about resurrection, or the resurrection or the transmigration of the soul is constantly going on. Any medical doctor will tell you, every 7 years, every molecule or atom in your physical body completely changes. Every 7 years. So this is not even the same body you had when you were a 7-year-old girl. It's totally changed. Because it's part of what is known, this is the transmigration. So in order to connect this with the highest level of service, which is service to the Supreme Lord, the process of bhakti offers us that opportunity to engage in. Right now, so many people have different ideas. Sometimes, like someone can say, I'm a Jew, I'm Jewish, I'm Christian, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, but that can change. Like someone may say, okay, well, I was a Christian before, now I'm gonna become a Buddhist. But what doesn't change? That we're eternal servants of God. That's what's eternal. So we have to understand things from a universal principle, and that's the science of the soul. And the soul can reach its height or the topmost platform by engaging in the science of bhakti, which is not conditioned by a material conception. So this is a small understanding because we're all seeking that pleasure that doesn't end. Whatever. Because just like in mathematics, a child in elementary school, they learn ABC and 1, 2, 3. And they may have an older sibling that's doing algebra. A plus B equals 2 squared, and the numbers and letters are together, right? So the younger child may see the older siblings work and say, hey, wait a minute, you can't put numbers and letters together because it's something beyond their comprehension. So there are very many different levels of stages of God realization. And it's not like, comparatively speaking, that anyone is any less, but according to the qualification of that individual, he's getting what he can from that particular level. Just like a child in kindergarten, you're not going to give him an algebra book and say, here, because he can't digest it. But as he grows and becomes more and more qualified, then he's able to go to college and do trigonometry, geometry, so many higher things, right? It's the same way in the science of understanding who I am, what this world is about, who is God, and what is our interrelationship. So bhakti includes all of that in a small way.
Good segue to next class.
Yes.
Guruve Gaura Chanjaya Radhikaya Dale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavattaya Namo Yanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhurevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. So, there are so many devotees here, so I certainly have to address the katha which is intended for that audience, but I would be remiss if I didn't also address guests and others who've come in various levels of curiosity. So I think I want to start by really thanking you for coming to awaken even the consideration.
I just came to with my wife.
Oh, that's good.
This is the reason I'm here. I
Yeah.
know where I am. I know where I am spiritually.
Yes.
And I'm good where I am. I'm happy every day of my life. And I thank my Supreme Lord Christ for what he has done in my life.
Right.
Honestly. And Christ is the focus in my house.
Yes. That and for us, that will be inspiring because if anyone is dedicated, as he just mentioned, to loving and serving God, no matter which angle or route that takes.
Because I don't know how you guys repent. See, we are learning how to repent. And by asking for repentance, we are reach a different level of gratitude. And once we get to be gratitude to our Father in heaven, okay, like David, Psalm of Psalms, you probably heard Psalm 145, right?
Yes.
Oh my Lord, oh my God, you are my strength, you are my rock, for whom I shout. Okay, so that is my rock.
So what we're saying is that the very nature of religion itself,
People confuse religion with a faith.
Right.
My faith is my Christ.
Right.
I don't have a religion.
Right. He was just mentioning, I was going to say, religion itself means religio. It's a Latin word, means to bind back.
Yes.
So even though you're practicing faith, you're practicing religion as well because you want to connect back with Christ. That's your intention by serving Christ, is to connect yourself in love to that service. So similarly, your faith is your inspiration to practice that religion, right? So every single religion everywhere in the world that is aimed at loving and serving a true God, that is actually also on the same path. The roads may look different, the roads may look like they're going to a different direction, but ultimately the goal should be measured by what the desire is. You want to love and serve Christ, don't you?
Well,
Always.
He is the
Son of God.
A son of God.
You want to love and serve him, correct?
Because he died for my sin.
I'm asking. You want to
And
love
every
and
time I
serve?
sin, I put him back in the
Right.
cross. So that's why I decide not to sin.
Right,
And that every time I fall back, I look at what happened in the cross.
right. So, and in that way you become inspired to love and serve God, yes?
That's correct.
So in the same way, we're also trying in our way, according to teachings, which are also inclusive of the teachings of Jesus Christ, to love and to serve God with all of our heart, soul, body, and might. And that's the commandment. So really, you can feel very much at home here that Christ is here, even though the appearance may look different. It is still about Jesus Christ and about loving and serving God.
Because it says in the Bible, it says, Lord your Father in heaven with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul.
Yes,
Okay, and do not put another God in front of me.
right.
What is that?
I'll explain later. We'll have
What
a
is that?
conversation.
Yeah, I have no statues in my house.
You have a cross?
Un poco, estamos aquí para oír algo y está interrumpiendo y no está dejando a todo el mundo como que
It's okay. It's
Oh,
okay.
exactly. But we'll talk later because I didn't inspire enough. But I have to get to Harikatha for devotees also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would hear.
All right.
It's okay.
Last night, by the mercy of Shishi Guru and Gauranga, we were able to discuss something of the glory of Srila Jiva Goswami. All of our Guru Varga, they had a special mission and commission which was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The very first book, as I mentioned last night, which was written by all of the Goswamis, was which book? All those who were there last night?
We have Bhagavad.
Brihad Bhagavatamrita of Sanatana Goswami was the first of all of the Goswami Granthas. In that Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami Pad, he outlined the complete crumb of bhakti, the complete progress of bhakti from all different levels, up to Uddhav, who was Prem Atur Bhakta, the highest type of devotee of God outside of Vrindavan. After that, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, under the orders of Sachinandan Gaurahari, he wrote what is the complete science for obtaining that kind of bhakti that Sanatana Goswami Pad was laying out. So he wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He wrote the science of the ocean of bhakti that he received only as one drop from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After that, he took the jewel, which was the churn from that ocean of bhakti, and he wrote another book which was called Ujjwala Nilamani. In Ujjwala Nilamani, he wrote exclusively the science of love itself. He described what is love in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and wrote all of the nuances of love in Ujjwala Nilamani, and he gave that to the world. Then he wrote dramas like the Lit Manav Vidabda Madhav. He wrote poetry like Utkarika Valari. Rupa Goswami was so expert that he could write poetry where he would write the poetry starting going right to left and then write it backwards right to left and it would say the same thing. He could write poetry where he could start in the center and write in Sanskrit poetry going out and creating an artwork of a circle going like this. That's how expert Rupa Goswami was. He was empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to document this whole science of love. But last night we mentioned there's a very interesting thing. Sri Shukadev Goswami, Dandavat Maharaj, Dandavat.
You win, buddy.
Huh?
No, you good. No, please. No, please.
But that was for you originally.
Maharaj.
No, you don't.
He said Maharaj.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit in. You don't sit down.
Okay.
difficult for them, no? That exam got coaching.
So Rupa Goswami was commissioned and mission he received from Mahaprabhu. He also received divine power to carry out that mission. Srila Shukadeva Goswami, he had 7 days to explain the science of bhakti as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. In those 7 days, he spoke the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, 355 chapters, 100 stories, 18,000 verses. In all of those, one time, he did not directly mention the name of Srimati Radhika openly. So the amazing thing was, why would Shukadeva Goswami, who was already acknowledged that the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam is the praying, the pure love, unadulterated love of Radhika, why he could not mention her name even one time? So he revealed himself. Radha nama pracharnena murchita sanmashiko bhavet. If, in the course of speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, who only had 7 days to live, if by chance Radha Nam will come from my mouth, at that time, due to the influence of my loving connection with Radhika, because Shukadeva Goswami, he is the Krida Shuk. It means the play parrot of Srimati Radhika. If he will utter her name one time, that time Murchit means he'll faint. How long? Sanmas. Sanmas means 6 months. So he told, I could not even utter the name of Radhika. But did he utter the name of Radhika in other ways? So many ways he uttered the name of Radhika indirectly, but never directly. Rupa Goswami, on the other hand, he wrote the name of Radhika in so many places, so many times, so many different kavya, poetry, everything. But Rupa Goswami never fainted. Rupa Goswami was able to accomplish all of this writing without any difficulty. What special power did he have from Mahaprabhu that he could do this? It is called Darya Dharan Shakti. Darya means patience. Dharan means the ability to hold. Shakti means power. Mahaprabhu gave Rupa Goswami the power that while you will enunciate the science of love, I will give you the power that you will keep your composure. Though inside there will be massive eruptions. Externally, you'll be unaffected and you can write down everything. This was the mission and commission of Rupa Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami also had a mission and commission. What was the mission and commission of Gopal Bhatta Goswami? That he would be able to describe all of the processes of worship. It is from Gopal Bhatta Goswami we actually have Hari Bhakti Vilas, Satkriya Saradipika, how we should do the worship of Thakurji, how we should do all of our samskars and everything else, all by the mercy of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, what did he teach? By his own living example, he showed that anyone living and doing bhajan should never, that person should never even hear criticism of any Vaishnava. He told that if I will hear about any Vaishnava, even if it comes in the form of criticism, I will translate it as that devotee is doing bhajan to Krishna according to his capacity. So he would never even hear the criticism, because the only thing that can destroy your process of bhakti is aparad. Nothing else can check bhakti. Only aparad can check bhakti. Jiva Goswami Pad, what was his mission and commission? Jiva Goswami, when he left home after the passing of his father Anupam, he went to Navadvip Dham, and in Navadvip Dham, under the shelter of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he took darshan of complete Navadvip Dham. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has documented this in Sri Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. Jiva Goswami, he not only went to each island under the guidance of Nityananda Prabhu directly, but because Nityananda Prabhu is a Khanda Guru Tattva, he is the revelatory power of each of those places in the Dham. Do you know that each and every Dham all over the world has been visited, not all over the world, excuse me, throughout our Bharatvarsha to India, has been visited by Balaram in some way, form, or fashion. Either when Balaram did not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, what did he do? He went on pilgrimage to all the holy places. Similarly, Nityananda Prabhu, when he left home at an early age with one sannyasi, where did they go? To all the holy places. The holy places only derive their power from Sandini Shakti, of Swarup Shakti. The presiding deity of Sandini Shakti, the revelatory power, the power to reveal God, is Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram is non-different from that Nityananda Prabhu. Rajendranandan say, Sachi Sutta Hoilo say, Shri Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So that very Nitai, he took Jiva Goswami Path to all of the islands of Navadvip Dham. Each of the islands of Navadvip Dham, they personified Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, Bandham, Dasa, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. So in each of those islands, Nityananda, the power of revelation or realization of all of these angas of bhakti was directly there with Jiva Goswami. After that, Nityananda told, now you should go to Vrindavan and you should join to Rupa and Sanatan taking a shelter. But before you go to Vrindavan, you should stop in Kasi. Kasi, why? What is in Kasi? All Mayavadis? Why to go to Kasi? So then Nityananda told, in Kasi, there's one devotee there, of the name Madhusudan Vachaspati. This Madhusudan Vachaspati, some say the brother, some say the disciple of the famous scholar Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. That Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was living in Jagannath Puri, he had originally come from Kasi, and he went to Jagannath Puri. He himself is the incarnation of Brihaspati, guru of all the devotees. He was living in Jagannath Puri. His scholarship was so renowned that even sannyasis of the highest order, there's different classes of sannyasi, even sannyasis of the highest order used to come to Puri to study with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Vedanta and Veda. When Mahaprabhu first came to Jagannath Puri, he entered the Jagannath temple. Seta Prananatha Painu, Iha Dahane, Dahane Madana, Jurigenu. When Mahaprabhu came into the Jagannath temple and he looked at the form of Jagannath, he directly saw Shamsundar Krishna. At that time, all Astasattvic Vikar, all ecstatic moods came. He immediately fainted. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he came in the temple at that time. At that time, the Pandas of Puri, they had their sticks ready. What is this person doing? Diving on the floor, completely profusely crying, completely sweating. His body's going through contortions. Maybe it's one madman. Maybe he's possessed by a ghost. They were about to beat the body of Mahaprabhu. That time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was so highly respected, he came into the temple of Puri to hold. He took one piece of cotton and he put it near the nostril of Mahaprabhu. He looked at that cotton and said, aha. Whole mysterious thing takes place with a piece of cotton. Aha. All of you, I tell you, take the body of this sannyasi and bring him to my house. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is very highly respected in Puri, even by Maharaj Pataprudra. So all picked up the divine body of Mahaprabhu, went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. That time, the devotees who were closely following behind him, they came. And at that time, they were inquiring, where's Mahaprabhu gone? To the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Long story short, in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma began to get a realization. Some time ago, the governor of Madras, of the name Roy Ramananda, he would come often for official duties to see Maharaj Prataparudra. At that time, coming to see Maharaj Prataparudra, I had his association. I took it that even though he was Sastravit, he knew Sastra, still he was very sentimental. He tried to teach me things from the Natya Sastra of Bharata Muni, all about rasa. You understand? But I took him to be sentimental. You understand? He didn't have very much leaning towards Vedanta or Veda or Vedanga. He didn't have leaning towards these things. So I took it because he's governor, grahasta. So then I'm taking, maybe he doesn't understand all these things, right? Now he remembers the person who described to him how to check for ecstatic moods in the body of a Vaishnava who is displaying ecstatic symptoms was Ramananda Roy. So he knew how to make the test to see what was going on because he recognized from what he heard from Ramananda Roy, those symptoms in the body of Mahaprabhu. So because of that, he knew how to check. So now he's thinking, oh, this Ramananda Roy. In my own vision now I'm seeing the very things he talked about. But he looked at the beauty of Mahaprabhu and he thought, this sannyasi is so beautiful. Sujalavarana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravadi Bhava Videham. I've never seen anyone. I've seen so many sannyasis. I've never seen a sannyasi look this beautiful. I'm doubting now. He's also very young. If this beauty is enchanting even me, how much this beauty will enchant all, including ladies. You understand? Therefore, I have to firm up this sannyasi. I will make an offering to him. I will agree to teach Vedanta from my own lips directly to this sannyasi. When Mahaprabhu, he came out of his ecstatic mood, he sat with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told, oh, I want to offer you something very special. I will directly teach you the science of Vedanta. I'm a very well-known scholar throughout all of India. People come from all over India just to spend time to study. But by destiny and good fortune, I've met you, you've met me. My heart is so charmed, immediately I want to offer you all of my knowledge. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sat in one place, Mahaprabhu sat in an asana opposite him, and for 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya began to describe all of the nuances of Veda, Vedanta, Vedangas, Upanishads, everything. After 7 days, coming out of his complete absorption in reciting so many verses and their commentaries, everything else, he looked at Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu was very stoic, sitting there. And he thought, wait. If anybody is hearing this level of Vedanta, Tika, this level of Vedanta Darshan, certainly they must have some question. Not 7 days later, 1 hour later, 15 minutes later. Oh, excuse me, can you explain that verse? 20 minutes later, can you explain that verse? 7 days passed. Mahaprabhu had not inquired at all. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked, excuse me, can you understand anything I'm saying? So then Mahaprabhu very calmly told, the sutras I understand very well. Your commentary, I don't understand. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, listen, how is it possible you can understand the sutra itself, but you don't understand the explanation? How is that possible? So then Mahaprabhu very lovingly began to show all the faults in his explanations. And he told, by your explanations, you're clouding everything. So the purport here is, Nayamatma Pravachanena Labdya Namerasa Namahusrutena. Even if a person is expert at being able to explain everything, Bahusrutena, if he's completely studied all of the commentaries and tikas, everything, Medasa, if he's extremely intelligent, right? Still, Eva Isha Vinute Tena Labjas, Tasha Eva Isha Vivinute Tanuswam. Still, he will not be a competent person to reveal who is Bhagavan unless Bhagavan himself gives that person mercy. So Mahaprabhu is Bhagavan, and he directly gave mercy to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wanted to hear one explanation. I'm telling a long story short. Mahaprabhu described the verse, Atmananashtamuniyo, Nigrantapi Rukrame. He described this verse in amazing ways, with never touching the explanation that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave. That time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, oh, now I understand. By the mercy of Ramananda Roy, I've obtained the association of Mahaprabhu. By this association of Mahaprabhu, now all my Vedanta learning, everything has become fruitful. He became so now attached to Mahaprabhu, when his own son-in-law came in and began to criticize Mahaprabhu, he told him, I wish my daughter would become a widow. I wish my daughter would become a widow. How much love and affection he developed for Mahaprabhu in that short time. So that same Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, his disciple or brother, according to different histories, different people mentioned, is Madhusudan Vachaspati. So Nityananda Prabhu sent Jiva Goswami to that Madhusudan Vachaspati to learn all the Vedanta and everything, because that Madhusudan Vachaspati learned everything from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Why did he send them there? Because the commission and mission of Jiva Goswami would be to take all of the learning of Vedanta, the 6 Vedic schools of thought, all of the Upanishads, all of the commentaries of the Acharyas, and to build an impenetrable wall around the teachings that Mahaprabhu gave. An impenetrable wall of Siddhanta around the teachings that Mahaprabhu gave. In order to do this, he took everything that was given by Madhusudan Vachaspati, then under the guidance of Rupa and Sanat, he executed writing 400,000 verses. Not 4, not 14, not 40, not 400, not 4,000, 400,000 verses he wrote, completely encircling and defending by Siddhanta from Veda all of the teachings that Mahaprabhu had given. Now that Mahaprabhu's and Rupa Goswami's teachings, all in our Guru Parampara, was completely encircled by this impenetrable philosophical fortress, now Jiva Goswami's commission was to give that to others. So he gave to Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda all of those teachings. From there it spread throughout Bengal, throughout India. Gradually in our Guru Parampara, it spreads throughout the whole world. So this was the mission and commission of Jiva Goswami. Among all the writings of Jiva Goswami, especially fruitful for any devotee who wants to understand bhakti is the Sat Sandarbhas, or the 6 Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami. In these 6 treatises called Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami has given the entire philosophy of bhakti, the entire philosophy of the soul, the entire philosophy of Krishna, the entire philosophy of the incarnations of Krishna. He gave commentary by category on Bhagavatam, everything. So last night, we only took 1 drop of those teachings of the Sandarbhas. In the Paramatma Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami, he has described exactly what is the soul or Atma. He's described it in such a way that anybody hearing this description can be completely crystal clear who they are, and understanding who you are, you can now practice bhakti with a true sense of what is the Atma. How did Jiva Goswami do this? In the Padma Purana, around chapter 200, there are 4 verses which are listed describing the very nature of the Atma of every Jiva, right? By the way, we discussed last night, the word Jiva really refers to the Shakti of Krishna. Every soul is embedded with Jiva Shakti. So Jiva refers to the Shakti, Atma refers to each individual. Is this clear or not clear?
Clear.
Clear. Crystal, right? Jiva is the Shakti, every Atma is Jiva Shakti, right? That Jiva Shakti is the marginal potency of Bhagavan, also called Tatastha Shakti, right? So here, Jiva Goswami, he describes everything using the term Atma because he's showing that the Atma is the individual who's imbued with Jiva Shakti, right? This is the nature that we're composed of. He took those verses from Padma Purana. Those verses were commented on by one scholar and guru in the Sri Sampradaya named Jaimatri Rishi. Jaimatri Rishi took those verses and commented on them. Jiva Goswami took that and made this commentary in his Paramatma Sandarbha. So first he describes, I'm recapping the entire thing. He says, Atmana devo na naro na tiyak stavro na cha. The Atma is not a David. He's not any demigod. The Atma is not a human being, right? Every Atma is not any human being. Not Tiriyak, he's also not the animal. Huh? Nacha deha, he's not this body. Huh? Na chavo mano prano na api dihi. He's also not the life heirs in the body. He's not the body itself. He's not the mind. He's not also the intelligence. What's left? He's not any. What is left? So why did he do like this? Anybody remember from last night? Why did he do like this? He said the Atma's not this, it's not that, it's not. Why did he do like that? Because everything we're used to feeling about ourselves is related to these things. He said, oh, Atmana Nevo, right? That we don't worry about because unless you're really feeling empowered, you think you're a demigod. That one is not such a big thing for us. But Nanaro, does everybody here feel like I'm a human being in this body? Everyone. Right? If I go around the room and ask everybody, say, yes, my name is so and so and so. What species do you belong to? Homo sapien, I'm a human being. You understand? Everybody will say, right? So everybody identifies with these things. So he says, but no, not all. Not Tiyak, easy. No, we're not like Cooper. Right? We all agree. Not Stavro. We agree we're not like the plants and trees. However beautiful they may be, we identify we are different. Right? So we know we're not that. But now he says, Nadeha. You're not that body. Wait a minute. You mean the same one that I'm enjoying the party with that I'm going to later on tonight? Right? I'm not that body. I'm not that body that's going to be dancing later on. Right? Then he says, you're not this mind. Right? We completely eliminate our mind. Right? Everything we do, everything we think about has to be channeled through the mind and the intelligence. We said, you're not the mind, you're not the intelligence also. Then he says, na jado, na vikari, na jnana, matra atmako nachar. So now he says, you're also not just inert. Even though you don't belong to any of the categories I've mentioned above, don't think that means you're nothing, that you're just inert. You are something, right? Then he says, here's actually what the jiva is. So now he begins his explanation. What is the Atma? So he says, Swashmai Swayam Prakash. What is the meaning here? If you take a dark room and you take a flashlight, in that dark room you cannot see anything. You take the flashlight, and when you turn the flashlight on, now by that flashlight, you can see yourself, you can see other people. Is that correct? This is called Swayam Prakash. By the flashlight, you can see yourself, you can see other people. But does the flashlight know itself? You understand what I'm asking? Yes or no?
No.
I'm asking, let's say the lights in this room. When you turn the lights on in this room, it reveals everybody in the room. Everybody in the room can see each other. Everybody can see the light also. But is the light conscious itself?
No.
No. Therefore, even though the light can reveal other things, this is called Swayam Prakash, it is not Swashmai. Swashmai means it has no ability to know itself. But he says the unique thing about the Atma is that it is Swashmai Swayam Prakash. Every Atma has an amazing ability to illuminate others. That means I can see all of you. It can illuminate itself to others. All of you can see me, right? And the Atma can illuminate its own self, which means you can know yourself. Inanimate things may provide light and they may be able to reveal things, but they cannot know themselves. So this is a unique feature of the Atma. Shrishmai Swayam Prakash. Then he says, Chaitanya Vyaptashilascha. Chaitanya Vyaptashilas means, and even though the Atma is Nitya Anur, it means it is eternally atomic in size. Right? Can anybody see an atom? You cannot see an atom. But in your body, the Atma, your actual self, is smaller than an atom, yet Vyaptashila means your consciousness is spread all over the body. Now, my body's rather big, So that's an amazing feat, right? Because that means the Atma, though it's that small, is spreading consciousness all over the body. What to speak of my body, the same Atma is present in an elephant, and it covers by consciousness that whole body. An ant, so small, consciousness is throughout that body. So this is a unique feature of the Atma. The Atma has the power, Vyapta Shila, to completely expand its consciousness according to whatever body it inhabits. Mhm.
So when we speak of consciousness, is that like something in the ether that we all tap into, or we all have our individual consciousness?
Swashmai, Swayam Prakash. Swashmai means you have an individual consciousness that's manifesting you alone. He's going to get to that. He's going to say that you are Kshetra, Prati Kshetra Gyanam Bina. You're an individual, right? Raghunath Prabhu, individual. Premavati Didi, individual. So you can know everything about your body, but you cannot know everything of Raghunath's body. Raghunath can't know everything of Premavati's body, because each Atma is individual. That's
There's
another
not one
unique quality.
infinite consciousness that we all tap into, like they say, let's say.
Nope. He's defeating Mayavad here by that, right? Pratik Kshetra Gyanam Bino, right? That each individual is his own Kshetra Gyan. The word Kshetra Gyan means like your body. You are the consciousness in your body, but not the consciousness in anyone else's body. But who is conscious of everyone's body at the same time? Krishna. Therefore, he says, all of the different jivas are Paramatmaka Seshitva. That means they are manifestations of the Paramatma. You understand? And the Paramatma is conscious of every single body. Paramatma means the form of God in your heart. He's conscious of every single Atma. You're only conscious of your own Atma. Right?
Since the beta tattva, no, it's something completely separate.
A little different. Right. So now he's described also that the Atma is Chit Ananda Atma Kastata. So this is really important. Chit Ananda Atma Kastata means that that jiva, by his very nature, is not only conscious, but he's capable of experiencing unlimited Ananda. Potentially. Does every jiva automatically, every Atma automatically have unlimited Ananda in their soul? No. No, he's going to get to that in a minute. But every Atma is capable. By potential, exactly, by potential, he can experience or she can experience unlimited happiness. So here, Jiva Goswami, in his commentary, he writes, the meaning of Ananda Atmaka here is Dukkha Pratiyogi Tvena. It means that the Atma absolutely has no misery. So from today on, don't think you have any misery. Because whatever misery you're experiencing is not coming from you. So then the question becomes, wait a minute, that all sounded great. But if the misery is not coming from me and I don't have any misery, why do I feel miserable? You understand? It's a bona fide question. It's a bona fide question. So now we're going to go to where he describes how and why we feel miserable. Paramatma Vaibhava Gunane. Now he says, previously in another book called Paramatma Sandarbha, Gunane means I discussed the very nature of Paramatma. While I was discussing Paramatma, Cha Tatastha Shakti Rupanam Chit Ekarasanam, I also discussed the nature of the individual Atmas, Jivatmas. While I was discussing that, it came to light that every Jiv Atma is Tatashta Shakti. The word Tata means a border between two things. Like if you go to the ocean, where the water stops and the land begins, there's a very imperceptible line of demarcation. That is called a tata. The word sta means if anybody is situated in that position, it is called tatashta. You understand? So tata means the imperceptible line of demarcation. But here he's not talking about down at Miami Beach. Here he's talking about an imperceptible line between the spiritual reality and the material reality. All of the different Atmas are situated in a middle position in between those two realities. Is that clear or not? Before I go on. Every single Atma right? Who's manifest from the Tatashta. They are situated in a middle position in between the spiritual reality and the material illusion. You understand? That place is called Tatashta. All the Atmas who are manifest from Tatastha Shakti are situated there. Because they are situated in that middle position, Chit Ekarasanam, they manifest a neutral position. What neutral position do they manifest? What is God? I don't really know. What is the spiritual world? I don't know. So how can I have any particular affinity towards the spiritual world? Same time, I don't know what is the material world, right? So he remains in a neutral position. This is the meaning of Chit, means conscious of, Ekarasanam. He's conscious of one particular status of feeling. It's a neutrality, right? Then he says, because of that, api anadi palatattva gyan samsarga bhavamaya. So now he's saying, because he's neutral, right? By his very nature, he's in this neutral position. As a result of that, anadi, the word anadi here means time without any beginning. Adi means beginning, anadi means no beginning. So from time with no beginning, every Atma has been like this who's coming from Tatastha Shakti.
So
Yep.
at what point, so then that begs the question, when did the Jiva fall? When did the Atma fall? If it's Anadi.
Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 22, verse 10. It explains, Anadiya Vidya Yuktasha Purushasha Atma Vedanam. That the Jiva was never anywhere to fall. He has Anadi been Yukta to Avidya. He didn't ever fall. He's always been in this condition. This is his swabhav. This is the nature of being Tatashta. And furthermore,
Where's this from?
11th canto, chapter 22, verse 10.
Never
Second
fall.
part.
Never fall.
Huh?
Never
He was
fall.
never there to fall. He's always been in Tatashta swabhav.
11, 12, 22.
Which,
11, 22, 10.
which is the border, right?
He's in that middle position.
Which is the neutral
It's
position.
a neutral position.
So he has.
It's like, in terms of all of the people in Miami, do you hate them? No, I don't want to say this, maybe traffic, other things. But just in general,
Right.
do you hate all of the people of Miami? Do you love all the people of Miami? You don't know. So there's a neutral, you don't hate or love them, it's neutral. Similarly, the Jiva, because he's absent of any knowledge of Bhagavan, he has no ability to develop a love towards Bhagavan because he doesn't know him. How long has he been in this condition where he doesn't know Bhagavan? Anadi Paratattva Gyan. Paratattva Gyan means knowledge of who is God, who am I, and what is the relationship. From time without any beginning, samsarga bhav, abhav means that knowledge has been absent in the Atma. You understand?
What knowledge?
Huh?
What knowledge?
Paratattva Gyan.
Harikatha again.
Yes. Paratattva Gyan means who's Bhagavan, who am I, what is the relationship. That knowledge has been absent in the Jiva from time without any beginning. Right? The word abhav is taken from Vedic science of Nyaya, logic. And abhav means an absence. There's three kinds of abhav. I'm only going to tell you about one. It is called prag abhav. Prag abhav means a prior non-existence. So here he's saying, prior, there's never been a history anywhere at any time of the Jiva having knowledge of his relationship with Bhagavan. Never at any time. It was always that he did not know who is Bhagavan. You understand? Though he's come from Bhagavan, he does not know. Therefore, he can't have a relationship. Therefore, he's remained neutral. Now, here's the problem. If you get on an escalator, Haribo. So now, if you get on an escalator, whether it's an up escalator or down escalator, and the escalator is working, not like the ones you go some so you get on an escalator, it's not working, you have to walk, right? But if you get on a working escalator, can you remain in a neutral position?
No.
No. Either you're going up or you're going down, right? So here he's saying, the results of maintaining this neutrality towards Bhagavan create something. Samsarga bhavamaya, tat vaimukya labda chidaya. So labda means to obtain something. What does he obtain? Tat vaimukya. He obtains an aversive feeling towards Bhagavan as a result of being neutral. You understand? So he turns away from Bhagavan. When you turn away from Bhagavan, what's the alternative?
Maya.
Boom! Boom! Because he's neutral, then as a result of neutrality, Tad by Muktya Labdha, he obtains a natural turning away from Bhagavan. Because he turns away from Bhagavan, Maya Avritta Swarup Jnanam. Because he turned away from Bhagavan, Maya Avritta means Maya then covers him. What does Maya cover? Swarup Jnanam. It covers his knowledge that he's not a material or she is not a material byproduct. Maya refers to the illusion of this world. I'm going to explain that.
But why is my phone?
Huh?
Why is my
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. We are going to get there. So now he says, Maya Avritta Swarup Jnanam. So then Maya, as a natural consequence to being adverse to Bhagavan by Mukya, covers the jiva's knowledge of himself. The result of Maya's covering is Taya Eva Sattva-rajas Tamo Maya Jara Pradone. Then the three modes of nature come into action. Hey, we got another one. Welcome to the camp. You understand? Get a t-shirt, get online, we get you indoctrinated, and we'll get you settled in. You understand? So this is the result, like a chain reaction of what happens, right? Now, keep in mind, this is not historical. We were never sitting in a Tatasta Shakti, sitting on a bench with a number waiting to be called by Maya or Krishna. It doesn't work like that, right? He's only describing the ontology. Ontology means it's like taking something and studying the nature of it separate from reality. The point is that from the jivas are eternal. So from time without any beginning, they've been in this condition. I quoted the verse from Bhagavatam, Anarya Vidya Yukta Shah. They have been yukta to Maya from time without any beginning. Now, what is this illusion? Which is the question you asked. This illusion is called avidya. The word vidya in Sanskrit means knowledge. Real knowledge incorporates three things. Who am I for real? Who is Bhagavan for real? Because we have to acknowledge the supremacy of a being. Because we don't have control. If we don't have control, who does? So it immediately, by default, acknowledges the supremacy of someone over us. So who that person is, who am I, and then how are we related, that comprises real knowledge. Everything else is a corollary to that knowledge. Right? Avidya means, the word a, the prefix a in Sanskrit, negates the word. So he's saying avidya means no knowledge. So he does not have knowledge of that relationship, and who am I? As a result of that, another chain reaction takes place. It is called Ashmi. What does Asmi mean? I am. I am. What am I? Aham Kara. Aham means I. Kara means Karana. I am the cause. Karata. I am the doer of everything going on around me. So who did we just erase by that statement? Because are we the doer of what's happening?
No.
So, but by that feeling, that statement, we just X'd out what is the position of God. Aham, you understand?
Isn't that due to Maya because we're not?
Because we're covered,
So
avidya comes.
we're in illusion.
Right. But I'm describing the features of the illusion. The first one is the avidya, the ignorance about God. Second thing that comes up as a natural consequence is asmi, I am. Right? Because I don't know who I am for real, right? But I have a sense of identity. Something has to be there. So then asmi, I am. But now who am I? Aham kara, I'm the cause and the doer. So now when you have those things in place, Maya says, listen, you don't know who you are, I'll provide some identities for you. You understand? This is where Maya comes in. I'll provide some identities for you. The store that you buy your identities from is called Upadi Mall. Upadi means a false designation. Right?
And that's
Right.
that's when you mentioned that was the video,
We're going to get there, not yet.
Not yet.
So then Maya comes and says, here, you can be this Upadi. You can be a Indian woman from this place, that this. You could be married to this person. So now she starts offering these identities. Everybody's got false identities or no false identities. We are interrelating with each other. Now, Maya says, this is a great show. This movie is fantastic, right? But how can I keep them engaged in it? Because two natural tendencies are there in every Atma. Rag and Dvesh. The word Rag means we have an attachment. What do we have an attachment to? Happiness. Because it's in our nature, remember? Chit, Ananda, bliss, Atmaka. We have an attachment to being happy. So Rag. Dvesh means we don't want to be unhappy. But what is the question of unhappiness? There is no unhappiness in the Atma, but in the false identities that we've acquired. Now, because of that vicarious identification, unhappiness is coming. This gives rise to an aversion to it. You understand? So now Dvesh comes because I don't want to be unhappy. Is everybody happy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Right? Is that in the Atma? No, that's not in the Atma. So where's it coming from? It's coming from the identification with this drama in this world. Now, how will the drama be made to feel real? Maya has a power called Abhinivesh. Abhinivesh means I will make this drama so real. And what I'm going to do, because I cannot put this drama in the Atma, because the Atma doesn't accommodate it, but what the Atma has is a thin sheet of consciousness that covers it, to protect it from the world. That is called the Chitta. Right? Like in Mahaprabhu says, Chaito Darpanamajam. Chaita means Chitta. So then what Maya does, she gets her movie screen together, and in 3D, she shows the movie of the material world and your false identity and everyone else's false identity on that screen. When you look from inside yourself, outwardly, you look at that screen, and on that screen is the drama that we see playing out here. You are actually not there. What is the proof that this is real? Even in this world, if you go to a movie and you sit in the movie, very soon you start looking and you start identifying with the characters. And if it's a scary movie and you've already seen 3 people go in a haunted room and get their heads chopped off, when the 4th person starts coming, you start going, don't go in there. Don't go in. And you start moving around your seat, right? Are you anywhere near Hollywood or in that movie? No. But just to show you how heavy consciousness vicarious identification is we know it's a movie. And you still go, oh my gosh, oh gosh. You understand? You know the blood is unreal and everything, but you still identify. So if Hollywood producers can make you do that, what can Maya make you do? What can Maya make you do? So Maya has you identifying with this drama that's being shown on the TV screen. You don't have to worry about your credit. To buy a screen, the screen can be as big as you want. You understand? So the screen of your heart, your chitta, is as big as you want to make it, and this movie is being shown on that chitta, and fully we're absorbed in it. Who am I? I'm Mukunda. Yes. The big black guy from wherever, right? And I'm absorbed in the dynamic of the thing. Formerly, I used to be a policeman before in my own life, right? So I was a policeman. I used to play basketball also. So I was a policeman, basketball, and I used to do music. I was a drummer. I used to tour and everything, right? So I was a drummer. So all of this stuff is in my drama, right? So all these impressions of all these things are played out on my TV screen. I married the beautiful young lady in the back there, right? So all that. So that's my wife. You understand? all of that's in the drama, right? I have my daughter. And through the teenage years of my daughter's life, I didn't experience any kind of Ananda. You understand? So all of that was in the drama. You understand? And all of the vicarious emotions connected with it, I was going through. But was any of that in the Atma itself?
No.
No. So now Jiva Goswami says, if you want to get free from suffering or the perception of suffering, you are going to have to turn off the TV of this world. That's really difficult. My favorite show is coming on. What is that show? It was big.
American Idol. That's my
No.
favorite.
Something.
Game of Thrones.
Huh?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's it. Right? So Game of My Thrones or whatever, right? So I mean, it's hard because I've been binge watching my drama since time without beginning. Very difficult to cut it off, right? So now how can it be cut off? Somebody's got to bring you something that can take your attention away from the drama of the movie and bring you towards something else. Brahmanya Brahmati Konya Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lakta Bij. If you are very fortunate, you've been wandering from time without any beginning throughout all the Brahmandas with all these different false designations. By good fortune, right, you meet a sadhu, guru. What happens? Sava Sangamena Ratnya Anko Rupa Eva Mati. What does the word mati mean in Sanskrit? Mati means discrimination, inclination, tendency. These are all synonyms for the word mati in Sanskrit. What happens is that by the association of a sadhu, the first thing that comes is mati. What is the mati? Wait a minute. I've been watching this daggone drama for all this time. I'm still not happy. Things still ain't working out. Is there anything else? That feeling in your heart is called mati. Discrimination. The beginning of the thought, is there anything else? At that time, you start hearing Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Even more, you start hearing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Then you begin to understand that Hare Krishna means Amaradana Radha Sri Radha Sri Radha. So all of this graduation of understanding is coming because inside your heart, Guru is there as Chaitya Guru. Outside, he's come as external Guru. Now you've turned, at least, the TV's still on, mind you, but at least you've turned around and you started listening. So now you're multitasking. You understand? You're listening to the Guru, and then you're also still in the material world. But don't worry. The Guru Paramparas accommodated you. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote Madhurya Kandamini, and in there he described your multitasking tendencies, right? All right. So we'll get into that tomorrow because now it's too late for sure. We'll get into that tomorrow.
What's
so
tomorrow?
Tomorrow one more program at Krishna Das's house. Hold on 1 second. So now he's described so now you're multitasking. Gradually, if you keep going in the association of Guru, then pretty soon the voice of Guru goes from a whisper to more prominent. Pretty soon, your full attention is being given to Guru, right? Now you even forgot you had the TV on, right? Then Guru one day can tell you, and you'll listen, turn the TV on. You understand? One day now, your heart will be more clean, turn the TV off. You don't need it anymore. Oh, all right, Gurudev. Click. Now you turn around, and Gurudev's showing you something. I went to Mangalarti like my Gurudev told me to go every morning. Every day I come, and now seeing the glory of my Gurudev, I glorified him through 5 different slokas. In that 6th sloka, Gurudev was so kind. Gurudev has now showed me now, you're not watching TV anymore. You're no longer interested in the drama before. So now I will reveal to you the actual reality, what you never have to give up watching, what you can participate in without taking external false bodies. You can have a real body to participate in. You understand? So, Nikunja Yunarati Keli Siddhai. That time Gurudev reveals himself. Oh, I am such and such a Manja. Your identity, Divya Gyami Antamatre, Bhagavad Gyanam Bhagavat, we say someone Gyanamscha. I'm not telling who's who, but then Gurudev will reveal your own real identity. If Gurudev doesn't directly tell you, More Siddha Deha Diya, Krishna Pasera Ke Diya, Yata Deha, Sava Karanaj. Harinam has that power. Gurudev doesn't have to tell you directly. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, oh Harinam, More Siddha Deha Diya. You have the power to give my Siddha Deha also. So now with your Siddha Deha and Gurudev Siddha Deha, he shows you the beauty. Mangala Shri Guru Gaura, Mangala Murari, Mangala Shri Radha Krishna, Jugali, Mangala Nishanta Lila, Mangala Nishanta Lila Udaye. Now made the Nishanta Lila of Radha Krishna, the real thing I'm looking for. Udaye means may it rise up in my heart. You understand? Now seeing that reality, you never again want to see anything else because everything else will appear completely useless. You understand? This is how studying the science of the Atma and knowing the Atma has nothing to do with this world, one can then take advantage of Sadhu Sangha, take advantage of the inspiration of Swarup Shakti, and by that Swarup Shakti, the real form of the Atma develops, and now in the real form of the Atma, he can participate in the reality, not the external false drama. In the reality, is there any unhappiness? Even what appears to be unhappiness is so much bliss. The gopi separation from Krishna, so much bliss. You understand? Krishna's leaving Braj, so-called, to go to Mathura and Dwarka is only to make the bliss increase. When gopis questioned Krishna, oh, what kind of lover are you? I'm not telling this all the time. He told, oh, I'm that type of lover, basically, who wants to make your love go higher and higher and higher. So if that means by going to Mathura and Dwarka, the separation will increase, then the love will also increase. How? Navina vipralambena sambol pushnyashnute. By the depth of separation, sambol is made, sambol means meeting. The word sambol means meeting, is made more beautiful. In this world, we even say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, unless you didn't like the person in the first place. Then absence makes the heart happy. You understand? But basically, we acknowledge when people are separated and they truly love each other, when they come back together, oh. So imagine 3 types of separation in Vrindavan are there. I'm not getting this very wrong. One type of separation, and it's called Purvarag. From that Purvarag comes some cheap sambhog. It means meeting like on a first date. I'm making it short to understand. Right? Also, there is Man. From Man, which means when the mood of the lover becomes a little bit contrary, there's a meeting which is called Sankirna. What kind of example we can give for that we can all relate to? Many examples are there in Ujjali Namani, but what we can relate to here, if you have an argument with your husband or wife and you're in the same home, you haven't made up yet, right? Right? How is the relationship? Here's the example. Excuse me, sweetie, can you pass me a bottle of water? Here's the refrigerator. Understand? This is called Sankirna Sambhog. Right? You're there, but there's a contraction in the feelings, right? Right? Well, excuse me, sweetie, what's for dinner? Whatever you cook. Right? Like the other day, I saw one thing that's really amazing. So one lady was saying, listen, a husband used to be very abusive to his wife. He was always very cruel. He always spoke very mean to her. Sometimes he would even become a little physically abusive. But the wife always tolerated every single thing. So each time she would disappear for a little while, and then she would come back. And when they came back together, she would say, darling, can I do anything for you? So the husband one day, he just became amazed. How are you able to deal with this? I know I've been very cruel, very unkind. What is it that makes you able to tolerate all of this? So she said, oh, every time that you become angry at me or you become abusive, I go in and I clean our toilet. So the husband didn't register. He said, wait a minute. How can cleaning the toilet help you to deal with my abuse and my anger? She said, because I use your toothbrush. You understand? You understand? Oh, so this is called man. Sankira Sambhog. You become angry, but everything is contracted. Then there's pravas. If Krishna will go out to take the cows for grazing in the daytime, Atapite Bhavan Amikananam Ritayugayate Tvam Apashatam. They're saying, if we don't see you for that little bit of time, every minute or second that you're out, Ritayugayate means it's like a whole yuga has passed. A yuga means a long time. Right? So they're saying like this. So when they see Krishna again at the end of Gocharan, when he comes back, or when they sneak away and meet in midday of Radhakund, or if they see Krishna in Lila suddenly on a path, at that time it is called Pravas gives rise to Sankir, Sankirna, Sampana Sambhog. Sampana Sambhog means full. Oh, very happy we've seen Krishna. These three types of meeting and separation take place in Braj itself. But one type of meeting, which is the highest type of meeting and separation, does not take place in Braj. If Krishna will go to a distant place for a very long time, and he becomes under the control of others, at that time it is called Sudur Pravas. When Krishna and Radhika and Gopis meet, after a very long separation, that meeting is called, you said before? Samriddhiman Sambhog. This is, in Ujjwala Lamani it's explained, this is a flourish. So imagine if only Krishna going to do Gocharan, taking the cows out, creates a feeling in the gopis like every second is one yuga. What is 80 years that Krishna went to Dwarka and Mathura and then they meet at Kurukshetra? What is that? Then when gopis finally see Krishna at Kurukshetra, what kind of feeling do they have? This is called Samriddhiman Sambhog. Understand? So now, last thing, when Krishna goes back to Dwarka, because from Kurukshetra he doesn't go back to Vrindavan. Even Radhika's begged him come back. You come back. He doesn't go. So now, throughout his whole time in Dwarka, never again will I act like a Kshatriya. So when they come to him and ask him to fight in the Mahabharata war, Krishna tells, no, not fighting. One of you can have my army, the other one can have me. So, because Arjuna picked first and he picked Krishna, Duryodhana was very happy. Okay, I'm very happy to have the army. You're not fighting. But what was the mystery in this? Now, when the Battle of Kurukshetra takes place some years later on, where does that battle take place? Dharmaksetre, Kurukshetra. Right? Where's that place? Kurukshetra is where that battle took place. So now imagine the very place where Krishna, in the highest form of love between himself and Brijabasis met, they pull into this place and everybody's there ready to fight, and Krishna's driving a chariot now. Why is he driving a chariot? Because from the day he saw Brijabasis there, he vowed, no more acting like a Kshatriya. Why? Because when the gopis saw Krishna dressed like a king, that's when the verse comes. What is this verse? That's when this verse comes. Ai dina dayadranata maturanata karavalokshaye. Right? It's at this time that Radhika's mood comes before Ai dina dayadranata. When we were in Braj and we would experience separation, at that time you were dinanath. Dinanath means those who are so suffering due to separation, you are very eager to come and help them. But now we're looking at you, big crowns, big bracelets, dressed like a king, surrounded by thousands of queens. So now you're like Mathuranath. We should offer our Dandavat Pranam. So Krishna had this feeling in his heart, oh, see what I've done. From that day, simple dressing. That day he used to go to the horse shed of Arjuna, and he used to stroke the horses like this. And while he was stroking the horses, he'd be remembering the name of his cows in Braj. That time, when they came back to Kurukshetra and they pulled into the middle of this place, Krishna began thinking, this was the last place that I met those Brijabasis. So Krishna's heart became overwhelmed with love and affection, thinking of the Brijabasis in deep separation. Now Arjuna and Krishna are so close They are tarak megridi, means their hearts are like one. So when Krishna became bewildered thinking about the Brijabasis, whom he loved so much, Arjuna also became bewildered. That's why Arjuna said, hey, I don't know what's going on.
I don't want to
I
go
don't
with
feel
my
like
family.
fighting. I don't feel like fighting. What's happening to me? You understand? What is happening is that because you're so close to Krishna, and Krishna's own emotions are there, and he's looking for someone to guard his own feelings to, now Arjuna breaks down. Because if Krishna breaks down and starts telling everybody, hold the battle, wait, I missed the gopis, what is he talking about? Right? But if Arjuna, the chief warrior on the other side, breaks down, everybody listen, what's going on with Arjuna? The greatest warrior, now all of a sudden he's breaking. So everybody will stop and listen. Understand? So by arranging this, Krishna set up a situation where he could do his catharsis to Arjuna about how much he missed Vrindavan. He did that in the form of codes called Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is full of codes of how Krishna misses Brijabasis. I'm not getting into a whole different guitar. Jai Sri Satchidananda Hari Jai Shri Jai Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande Gaur Ashrama ki Jai. So we can take a little time because it is running late, especially because we have Maharaj present here. We can take some questions and have discussion on these things. 8:30, a little bit late.
Any scriptures recommended for a baby?
Yes, actually, Maharaj. He wrote a very excellent introductory book. I don't know what that book is.
The Path to Divine Love. I have a
Do you have a
copy.
copy?
We have a copy for
You
you.
have copies?
We have one copy.
It's like stored away, but I can get it.
That's an excellent book because it's the perfect book introducing Lefty's Bhakti. That's very good. Your husband?
No.
No, a friend. That's very good for him. Because his feeling is also a genuine. It's like what we call nishta. There's a nishta that Christ is my savior, and that's actually a good thing. It doesn't seem to come across socially, but really it's a good thing. Think how many people are here have no faith in God whatsoever, right? Just think, if any person comes and they say, I'm coming only because of my wife or my friend, right? Even to do that is something. Most people say, look, I'll just meet you later on at the club. You understand? I have no interest whatsoever. So we have to encourage, yes. Be very faithful to God, because one day, as that faith goes into maturation, it broadens also. So for this reason, we have to be encouraging and but that book is very excellent because it's very good to be in.
Jai.
What was the question? Oh, there it is. And there's other books here. Any other questions quickly?
Didn't you have a question, Prabhu?
Oh,
Don't apply anymore.
oh,
Don't
answer?
prescribe anymore yet.
Oh,
Don't thank you.
Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much for your wonderful class, like always. So since we're like the minority, we're like 1/3 of the spiritual world, this material world. How come, like, still, it's the same battle that I have with the Christians. That why did God have to create such system? It's all about free will and we get the choice to go where we want to go because it's love. But why is the purpose of this system?
Actually, this question is very good because also the earlier question you had, why did God make this arrangement?
It's
He
not
can
my
answer
fault.
both. Yes, why
It's
fault?
not my fault.
It's not my fault. So
Why
now,
is my
okay, but he's going to answer both of these questions now. Why don't you want to answer something first, and Bhumi you can do from there on? Okay, good. From there on. Just speak it, Bhumi.
That's one book I like to do exactly. This is one question that's asked in Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Can you hear?
Yes.
In the 16th chapter. Real interesting. Real good answer, too. This question was asked. The Jiva's suffering in his conditioned state is ultimately auspicious, but in the present state it is very painful. Since Krishna is omnipotent, couldn't he think of a less troublesome path? Couldn't he make it easier? Why is he making it so hard? Krishna's Leela is extremely wonderful and of many varieties. This is also one of them. If Bhagavan is independent and almighty and performs all kinds of pastimes, why should this be the only pastime that he neglects? No pastime can be rejected if there is to be full variety. Besides, the participants in other types of pastimes also must accept some sort of suffering. Sri Krishna is the enjoyer, Purusha, and the active agent, Karta. All ingredients and paraphernalia are controlled by his desire and subject to his activities. Just like a child, he's playing with a little army man. He has one side. He can decide which one is going to lose, which side is going to win. Krishna has this type of control. It is natural to experience some sort of suffering when one is controlled by the desire of the agent. However, if that suffering brings pleasure in the end, it is not true suffering. How can you call it suffering? The so-called suffering that one undergoes in order to nourish and support Krishna's pastimes is actually a source of delight. The jiva's independent desire has caused him to abandon the pleasure of serving Krishna and instead accept suffering in Maya. This is the jiva's fault, not Krishna. So our minute independence, it's there at every moment. It's like, you know, you ever see that when they have the little devil and the little angel? And you have the choice to choose. What are you going to follow? There was one song some years ago, one singing group, they did this song. Life is just a game and there's many ways to play, and all you do is choose. Well, we understand ignorance of the law is no excuse. You may not know. If I touch this fire, it's going to burn me. The baby may touch the fire. If the fire goes, oh, this is a little baby, I'm excused. It's not happening. The fire's nature is to burn. So in this world, when we don't choose properly, but by one of the other points, and this is 16th chapter of Jaiva Dharma, by continued suffering, eventually we'll come to the point, I don't want to suffer anymore. And by this suffering, gradually, we get sadhu sangha. And by the association of sadhu, then we can begin our path. There's one verse, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Bhakti Janma Teno Puna Mukhya Anga. The root cause of bhakti is association of the advanced devotees. When we become awakened, that type of association is the most essential thing to help us to climb on and on, up and up.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Also, one thing is there that essentially the idea of suffering as a whole, remember, it's not coming from the Atma. So the Atma has not identified that we're suffering. It's the vicarious identification with the drama and our acceptance of the false identities given, that's the suffering. So even being in this world, there is no suffering unless you buy into the drama.
The suffering is very real at the same
Because
time.
we bought into the
Drama. Right? Because if the suffering is reality, then that reality, because reality means an absolute truth. That's what we call reality. Therefore, nobody should be free from that suffering. So when you see sadhu and guru, and they're completely free from suffering, how could it be? Because they're in this world. If it's an absolute fact that everyone is suffering here, how could they not be suffering? They didn't buy the drama.
So
They
we
didn't buy the
so,
drama.
so we have to do that shift.
Yes, it's not easy.
It's
thing also.
under, but under guidance.
Right.
That's gonna help
Right.
us shift.
It's not easy because easier said than done, right? We're saying all you gotta do is not buy into the drama, right?
It's not
But easier said than done, right? Right. So I'm not minimizing it because generally for conditioned jivas, one of the conditions is that there should be some suffering. And what is the suffering meant to do? Cooper. Stop being ecstatic. Right? So one of the things it's meant, Maya has many different meanings. One meaning of Maya is mother. A mother naturally chastises children when she loves them. This is the nature of a mother. So Maya is also a mother. So Maya takes the time to chastise the Atmas in this world in order to correct them, not as a malicious event. You understand? But we take it as malicious because we are accustomed by their nature, we only want to enjoy. So if Maya presents us with suffering for our rectification, we still become angry. My granddaughter to this day, if I'm studying something, she said, "Oh, Baba, can I use your iPad?" "Oh, no, not right now. You are being so cruel right now." Right? This is her world perception. The iPad should be given to me. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, right? Because she's 5 and she's in charge. Right now, give me the iPad, right? So simply in our immaturity, being conditioned, we see things as, oh, why am I suffering? Right? And then when we're told why we're suffering and we should give it up, say, oh, well, that's another thing, right? Because it's mentioned. So what do? Jatta sharo matkateshu nivigna savakarmashu. Right? Veda dukkha manam kama paritagyo api anishvara. So here he's saying, if you develop a taste, jatta shara matkateshu, by hearing Harikatha, very good. Nivigna savakarmashu. Still there may be issues. Right after I go to Harikatha, I'm going to see Avengers 3 or whatever it is, right? It may be like that right now, right? Not optimal, but it may be like that right now. What should I do? Veda dukkha manam kama. I realize this is the cause of why I'm suffering. But paritagyopi anishvara. Anishvara means I can't control right now because gradually I'm unfolding. Tomorrow's class, basically how bhakti unfolds. Using Madhurya Kandamini, we'll explain, right? So as long as I'm going through these stages until I get to the platform of Nishta. Nishta is the platform where my consciousness has done that turnaround and now it is fixed in the path of bhajan. Right? Up until that point, 27 different obstacles will present themselves. You understand? 4 types of 4 narthas is 16. 6 types of unsteady bhakti, right? Is 21. 4 types of 4, 16, 6 kinds of unsteady bhakti, right? Then 5 types of issues that we have to get past on the subtle level, right? Like loy. Loy means a tendency to be lazy or to sleep. That loy comes in different phases, right? Jambarai. Jambarai means because nidra or sleep has sisters. The 3 sisters of nidra are called jambarai. So we're sitting in Harikatha, right? It's been a long day. Speakers going on and on. It's called Jambarai. The next one is called Dudulani. Dudulani means Jai. Right? And Jiminy means that actually not only am I sleeping, but I'm paying the visa bill that I didn't pay this morning. In like a haze dream, I'm paying the visa bill, everything. And then I hear something go, Krishna. No, Krishna doesn't get the bill. You understand? You actually incorporate Harikatha into your nodded dream. And then Nidra means you just go ahead and count out. Right? There was one devotee while I was preaching in Africa. He had a medical issue though. But he could do kirtan. He could go, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And everybody be waiting for the second part. And you turn around after my phone, he got the doctor and he's sleeping. He had narcolepsy, so I'm not funny.
I've seen one devotee like that.
Yeah.
You know, he can change out. Out. Completely out.
So anyway, tomorrow we'll go through all of these things.
I have a question.
Okay.
Earlier you were talking about aparad and how the only way to I don't remember exactly what you said, basically stifle or stop your bhakti is by making aparads. And I feel like it seems pretty hard to avoid aparads, especially nowadays. So I was just wondering, once those aparads are made, how can we?
Depends on what kind of aparad. In the 4 types of 4 aparad, Dam aparad, Seva aparad, Nam aparad, they can all be alleviated by Nam itself. Right? Even unlimited sins. Like Kunta Nama Se Shahava Haram Vidu. Unlimited sins can also be cleared by Harinam. What cannot be cleared by Harinam is Vaishnava. version of Aparatute Hakimata. It's like compared to an elephant and a goat.